What's good, YouTube? It's Lock-In Des coming at y'all with another reaction video. Now, I know it's been a little minute. It's been like 7 days or something like that since I uploaded a video. Hey, my bad. But because at 500, I will be doing a giveaway. I will be giving away a little money on, little bread. You know what I'm saying? So 500 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. 1,000 subscribers, we will be doing a wave check. Do Red Desmond in the building. As you can see by the title of this video, we about to be reacting to this Goku having insane plot armor. The answer to that question is no. Goku is probably one of the biggest anime protagonists with no plot armor. He died within the first 10 episodes or 10 chapters of Z. He died. That's crazy. You ever watched the anime and the main character died within like the first couple episodes? Like, this is a character that's been built since a little kid. He was like 12. You've seen this man grow up to a grown man, got a son, wife, everything, and he dies within the first couple episodes. Goku does not have plot armor. He loses. I will say, the closest I think he's had to having plot armor, just off the top of my head, is when he was fighting Hit in Super. This is in Super though. In Super is I ain't gonna lie, the more time goes by, you know, the more I look back at Super and I'm like, that Super was kind of trash, especially in the characterization of Goku. I ain't gonna lie, Super, it got its moments, but low key, I don't know, bro. I don't even know Super the new continuity no more. I don't know, gang. But he went up against Hit. Hit literally killed him. He shot a ki blast in the air. He brought himself back to life. That's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. Him pulling Super Saiyan 3 out of nowhere, that's also crazy. Also, Frieza not killing him instantly, Vegeta not killing him as an ape, but I don't think he has insane plot armor. Plot armor is just the plot, just making sure it goes out its way to make sure he live. And I don't think Dragon Ball does that, man. Goku dies his fair share of times. Yeah, man, but that's my spill. That's my little intro. I ain't gonna hold you a little too much longer. Shout out to Carthu for this video. This is his second channel, and make sure y'all show Carthu Dojo some love. Love his videos. Let's get straight to it, man.
If you've been a Dragon Ball fan for any amount of time, I'm sure you've heard at least once that Goku has insane plot armor. But I think the issue is the usage of the term plot armor, what people really mean by it versus what it actually means, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to break it down and see if Goku...
I just want to say shout out to the... Bro, hold on. We both got the white... Hold on, Carthu. Hold on. Bro, you lucky my chain out on my desk, bro. You lucky making me feel a little empty. You making me feel a little naked right now, gang. He over here flexing on us with the gold chain. I could at least pull out my little silver John. Okay,
who actually has absurd plot armor. To start, we have to talk about what plot armor actually even is. And for the most part, plot armor is generally defined as a character escaping or surviving a dangerous situation because it is required for the plot to progress. This,
just off of that definition, come on.
Makes sense, right? I don't think anybody would argue that plot armor in that
wait. Wikipedia? Carthu, you pulled a definition from Wikipedia, gang?
It's a fundamental part of a story. The issue is when plot armor is unbelievable. It defies the expectations or understanding of how the story should work or how it's been presented to us up to this point. Basically, it's suspension of disbelief, which is something I've talked about already with power scaling, but...
Wikipedia? What's up with him pulling Wikipedia definitions? What is suspension? Y'all know what suspension of disbelief is. Avoidance, often described as willing of critical thinking and logic and understanding something that's ungrounded possible in reality, such as something in the work of speculative fiction, in order to believe it for the sake of enjoying its narrative. For example, suspension of disbelief, just literally any fictional thing. Like, obviously, we know the Avengers and all that Marvel movies is not real. However, we suspend our disbelief and, you know, enjoy it anyways.
It comes up again basically everywhere that people are talking about their criticisms of a story. Can you suspend your disbelief while reading or watching a piece of fiction and be able to continue living in that world, that fantasy, without it breaking the rules it established itself? So this is the type of plot armor I'd like to focus on, because I feel like it's the one that most people are referring to, especially when they're talking about egregious cases of plot armor. So let's go through some of these iconic Goku moments that people like to bring up all the time and see if Goku even has plot armor to begin with. He might not. But let's find out. Let me start with the one I think most people think of when they talk about Goku's plot armor, him dying in the fight against Raditz, only to later be revived and back around again. This isn't plot armor. I don't know what to tell you, at least not in the way that people say. Obviously,
that's literally not plot armor.
Great. But Dragon Ball has already set the expectation that characters can be revived by the Dragon Balls. It's happened multiple times in the story by this point in the series. So Goku being revived after dying for the first time ever, not a big deal. It really isn't. And what most people seem to forget, I guess, is that he does die a second time. And originally, at least according to a recent reveal in an interview with Toriyama's
R.I.P. Toriyama. During the final phase of the Cell Saga, Toriyama repeatedly expressed his intention to end Dragon Ball with that narrative arc. Initially, those who heard him did not fully understand his will, thinking that even if the Cell Saga concluded, the series could continue in another way. However, strong pressure came from the editorial team for the story to go on, pushing Toriyama to continue further. So this is legit. Toriyama really wanted to end Dragon Ball after the Cell Saga, or during the Cell Saga. Despite this, Takeda always sided with the author, trying to find ways to ease his workload and make the continuation of the series less burdensome. In the end, both Toriyama and Takeda insisted that the story should definitely conclude with the end of the Majin Buu saga out of respect for Toriyama and his desire to bring the series to a close.
Editors, it was supposed to be a permanent death for Goku in the Cell Saga, which is insane to think about nowadays, but you know, so many people were speculating that the Cell Saga was an intended endpoint for the series, and we also don't know how the ending of the Cell Saga would have changed given it being the true ending of the series, because the ending we got was with the understanding and expectation that the series would continue from that point forward. The decision had already long since been made. But it is something to keep in mind that Goku's second death, he doesn't get revived by any Dragon Balls, even though he still could be revived by the Namekian Dragon Balls, and he has to stay dead for the remainder of the series unless something weird happens, which I guess I should mention, Elder Kai reviving Goku. I can see an argument that this is plot armor. There's never been a point in the series where it's been even remotely established or hinted at that a character could just give up their lifespan to another person so they could live at the cost of them dying. But of course, Elder Kai is a weird guy with his mystical powers due to him combining with a witch and due to him being a Supreme Kai, the highest form of creation god in the multiverse. So maybe creating life or giving life isn't really that out of the question for him. But I'd say especially at the time when we didn't know that Elder Kai was a god of creation because there were no gods of destruction yet, it's kind of pushing it to say that that was within any viewer expectations, and I could see how your suspension of disbelief could be cut there. What's definitely not plot armor to me, though, is villains being arrogant. Like, yeah, that's in character. As long as it's within character for that villain to be arrogant and take their time and...
I am kind at heart and will give you a chance to merge with someone. This might be plot armor.
Meticulous
because bro could have killed him immediately.
To the heroes of the story, I think it's fine when the villain doesn't just kill their opponent, right? Frieza could have killed Goku way earlier. He doesn't.
Yes.
Because that's in character for him. Cell could have killed.
It's in character. It's in character. Was it in character? Is it though? Hold on.
The heroes of the story, I think it's fine when the villain doesn't just kill their opponent, right? Frieza could have killed Goku way earlier. He doesn't because that's in character for him.
He doesn't because it's in character for him. I feel like, but that at this point though, Frieza should have really teed up. I feel like the fact that he even had to get pushed to his final form, and that these humans, these monkeys, were surviving for this long, bro. He really should have been killed. He should have been killed everybody, been blew up the planet, been dipped off. That the fact that it got pushed to this far and he was still playing around, because it's in character, he was like,
Cell could have killed everyone extremely early, but having a tournament was in character for him. And I think a big example of this being the opposite is with Kid Buu, who goes and quickly destroys the Earth, and they barely escape because of a teleportation technique, not even from Goku, but from Supreme Kai, both of which were already established in the story. So them escaping that fate on Earth is completely within the bounds of the story, and it shows what happens when a villain isn't just arrogant and going
the Earth got
ego
blown up.
plays
That's not
when they go into a fight with Goku and the main cast. So I think villains being arrogant, you could say, is plot armor, I guess, in the traditional sense, where the story is written in a way because it has to be written where the hero, generally speaking, wins. But it's not plot armor in the egregious sense, where...
I know, that's the thing I was thinking about Frieza. Like, Frieza definitely should have said, okay, arrogance to the side, y'all gotta die. For real, for real. If you really think about it, he really dragged the Namek fight way too long. He let... Frieza was tripping.
It comes out of nowhere.
I
don't think there's an arrogant villain in Dragon Ball that's all of a sudden arrogant when he wasn't before. Now, I think this is a similar case with new transformations. Some forms have foreshadowing and build up throughout the arc that they're introduced, like Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan God. Ultra Instinct is actually foreshadowed over the course of a series.
We all know where this is going.
So, all of these transformations, if they win the fight, they were foreshadowed to be the thing that wins the fight. I don't think that defies your expectations of the narrative to the point that it breaks your suspension of disbelief and it calls for, oh, he had an ass-pull plot armor moment. So many people call things ass-pulls in Dragon Ball, but it's only an ass-pull if it's really not foreshadowed, hinted at, or built up to. Which a lot of transformations that win are. And for the transformations that don't win, they aren't built up to most of the time. Blue Evolution didn't win its fight against Jiren. Yeah, it wasn't really built up to that much. And of course, you have my favorite transformation. I can't even say it.
Man, y'all gonna stop dissing Super Saiyan 3, bro. Y'all gonna stop acting like Super Saiyan 3 was not him, bro. We not gonna do this, bro. Carthu, I disagree, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care. Super Saiyan 3 was so tough.
And of course, you have Super Saiyan 3, which doesn't win any of its major fights in the Buu Saga. It does go on to win a fight in Daima, but Daima's canonicity is something I need to talk about on a main dojo video before I really give it any credit for doing things for Super Saiyan 3 in canon at least. But it does happen there, and it does happen in the movies. But Super Saiyan 3, in its debut arc, the Buu Saga, doesn't win a fight. Not with Gotenks and not with Goku. So I think that Super Saiyan 3 is an example of, oh, it wasn't built up to, it wasn't foreshadowed, and it didn't do what you'd expect it to. There was no real plot armor moment of Super Saiyan 3. I guess you could say stalling Buu.
Oh my god, bro. Super Saiyan 3 is top 3, bro. It's top 3, bro. For me. I'm sorry. For me, it's probably Super Saiyan UI and this, bro. That's my opinion, though. That's just my opinion. Super Saiyan 3 is just so peak. Goku's transformation, his first transformation. Every time anybody goes Super Saiyan 3 is tough, bro. Every time. It's for a reason. It's tough.
It was a bit of plot armor, but Toriyama could have written it a different way, as I've said many times, to have Buu be stalled without Goku putting on such a good performance against Buu. But regardless, in terms of the story that we have, yeah, forms that are built up to and have narrative framing, those are the ones that win the fight and create plot armor for Goku, but in the positive sense, not in the negative sense. So I see no issue here. Now, I will say for the most part, I've been pretty positive about Goku's plot armor in terms of the story, but there are some moments that are a bit more questionable, all right? I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna try to be fair and unbiased here. And a lot of this actually happens in original Dragon Ball. So you have things like Goku surviving.
I forgot about this. It's been a minute since I rewatched original. Yeah, definitely, bruh. Definitely 100% Goku should have died here. But the Dragon Ball got hit. Bro, if you look at this panel, bruh, the beam is hitting him like, I don't know, bro.
the fight against
This is
Tao
bomb.
Pai
This
Pai
is- this-
because
this
his Dragon
bomb.
Ball just happened to be in the place that Tao Pai Pai shot. It was very lucky it just happened to hit the Dragon Ball rather than hitting, the rest of Goku's torso.
I'm
And so
saying.
this allows Goku to survive it. In a similar way, you have Goku versus King Piccolo, where his heart stops beating after their first confrontation, and miraculously, Goku comes back to life, and it's not really explained, at least not then. And that's pretty damn crazy plot armor if you think about it.
His heart stopped beating?
Confrontation.
It did, didn't it? He just came back. He just came back too.
And miraculously, Goku comes back to life, and it's not really explained, at least not then.
That's tough.
And that's
tough.
pretty damn crazy plot armor if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to have Goku get hit by an attack, but it happens to hit something we knew he had on his person, and it has this thematic meaning of like Grandpa Gohan
Looking after
protected
him.
Goku
Yeah.
on his journey to find Grandpa Gohan, which ends with him finding Grandpa Gohan actually not in the form of a Dragon Ball. I mean, that's different than Goku just losing a fight, his heart stops beating, just so the villain will leave, and then his heart starts beating again. It's a little much. Toriyama's really pushing it with that one, and I
Right.
can definitely see the plot armor allegations there. Your suspension of disbelief might be a bit shattered at that point. And if we actually go even further back into original Dragon Ball in the Red Ribbon Army arc, we have General Blue, who was about to kill Goku. He was about to win the fight due to his telekinetic powers, only for a mouse to randomly appear.
Would that have killed Goku though? A shotgun to the head?
And save Goku and the others. It's kind of crazy if you think about it, how often this happened in the original manga. I mean, Goku turning into an Ozaru because the moon happened to be full in the very first arc, which saved them from being captured and killed by the Pilaf gang, is kind of plot armor. I guess it's like the least egregious of the ones that I've mentioned for sure. It
Yeah.
doesn't break your suspension of disbelief because the story could just be written in a way that it happens to be a full moon, but it's really one of those things where it's hard to say. It's just one of the many instances in original Dragon Ball that kind of fall into this weird little category. And I'm sure you
Yeah.
can include many other times where Goku's had his literal
Oh my god. What is this from? I've never seen this panel before. Y'all, he got his arm literally going right through him, gang. This is like this is instant death to any other person. This is okay, but this, Jesus.
torso ripped through, and he survives somehow just in time to get a Senzu bean or a heal, or in some cases not even a heal, he just flies away. But all of those aside, you have the plot armor wish from Dragon Ball Super's Granola arc. So I'm going to talk about the Dragon Ball Super manga. If you haven't seen my coverage of this arc, or you haven't,
Let's just skip. I ain't really worried about the manga stuff. I ain't worried about the best.
I can understand at least those being cases of Goku's plot armor. Now, I will say, I don't think Goku has had egregious plot armor in any real severe sense since original Dragon Ball. And even then, it's maybe 2 or 3 times that's really bad. With other instances, actually him being really unlucky, like his limb being too short to win the first tournament he's in, or the van getting in the way of him hitting the ground in the
Goku
second
loses a
tournament that
lot,
he's
bro.
in, both of which being unfortunate circumstances that lead to him losing the fucking
Goku
tournament.
loses a lot,
So
bro.
you could even say Goku's plot armor is a little all over the place in original Dragon Ball, but he definitely has his most egregious moments there. Now, what I will say is people talk about the main cast and death in Dragon Ball and permanent death in Dragon Ball and how important it is for characters to die. And I agree, but the characters that die in Dragon Ball permanently tend to be villains. And the reason that is because Dragon Ball is an ultimately hopeful show. I don't like that Frieza got revived twice because it undermines, to me, the themes of the overall story about perseverance and tenacity, overcoming all and any odds. If you keep fighting, if you keep pushing through, there is a hopeful future for you to find at the end of that tunnel. And that's what Dragon Ball is about. You can't have the main cast die all the time, especially permanently, because it undermines that messaging. It undermines that hope.
Nah. Nah, some characters could go. Like, realistically, y'all, like, on some real if Yamcha, Tenshinhan, Yajirobe, Chaozu, If they just so happen to die and never come back, would y'all really be that hurt about it? Be honest with yourself. If Ten Shinhan was to drop dead and never come back to the show ever, because he had some heroic, it'd be a nice moment, heroic sacrifice that probably, pushes whatever situation they're in a better direction. Would you really be that mad about it? Would that ruin the show for you? If anything, that would give greater hope. If anything, him sacrificing himself to save whoever and gives them the strength and courage to keep going and fight in his honor. Would that really be that bad? I don't think so.
Now, I'm not saying there aren't instances where a character couldn't stay dead, right? Goku could have stayed dead after the Cell Saga if Gohan was up for the main character role like Toriyama originally planned. Vegeta could have permanently died after his battle with Buu, being reincarnated, and maybe we have a slight nod to his reincarnation before the end of the series. I think
that low-key, that sounds tough, actually. What if Goku and Vegeta would have stayed dead? What if Goku and Vegeta would have stayed dead at those moments? Goku dies after his sacrifice against Cell. Buu comes. Vegeta sacrifices himself to kill Buu. And now you got Gohan, Goten, Trunks. That's low-key tough. Oh my god, that would have been so tough. I think they need to just reset Dragon Ball. I ain't gonna lie, I think they gotta go back. They have to go back to Z, bro. They gotta start over, bro. Instead of keep trying to do this time skip Super, bro, I ain't gonna lie, leave that alone, bro. I ain't gonna lie, Super really is not all that crazy. Daima did a great thing by going back to like the Majin Buu era. They did it. That's so smart. They need to go backwards, bro. They need to go backwards. That would have been genius, bro. A Gohan, Goten, and Trunks, new generation. Boom, Goku dies. Like Goku, that second death, that's death against Cell for Goku, bro. That's one of my favorite moments, bro. That moment is so touching, and that would have did Gohan's character so much justice. Oh my gosh, bro. And then Vegeta sacrificing himself after repenting for everything he's ever done. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Dragon Ball could be, oh my god.
I think it was a fine time to end that character. I'm not saying that I hate any of his stuff in Dragon Ball Super. I don't love all of it, but I like a lot of it. So it's not like I want him to be gone, but I could see that being a fitting ending for Vegeta. There's many such instances where a character's story could end in death, and it still feels optimistic and hopeful for the future.
Right.
But I understand why that isn't always the case and why that isn't done. Because ultimately, when you leave a Dragon Ball story, you should be able to feel like you can accomplish anything, that a brighter future is just around the corner if you work hard enough and push towards it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty damn good message to have. So if it takes Goku having some plot armor for that message to get across, I'll take it. I don't think he has that much plot armor, though, to begin with. Anyway, that's all I have to say. See you later. How many videos have I gone without talking about Super Saiyan 3?
Stop hating on Super Saiyan 3, bro. I'm gonna give you a like, though, bro. Because he really made me think, like, bro, Dragon Ball could be so much more if certain characters just stay dead. Just stay dead. They don't even have to be forever. Goku still came back eventually. But, like, it could have been way longer. It could have been way... Shout out to Carthu for this video, man. I hope y'all enjoy it. Leave y'all thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. If you could choose a character to stay dead in Dragon Ball, who would it be and why? Leave it in the comment section below, man. I greatly appreciate y'all. Shout out to Carthu again, man. This video was really good. It's really good, bro. But we all know Goku don't have insane plot armor, but the questions that this video brought, I feel like it was a really good discussion piece. So with that being said, it's Locking Dez and I'm out. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Drink a gallon of water a day. Take care of yourselves. Peace.